You don't make a woman fall for you by chasing her. You make her feel drawn to you by who you are when you stop trying. Emotional presence is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood traits that deeply attracts a woman. It is not about doing something grand or performing some romantic act. It's about being there in a way that very few men ever are. A man who is emotionally present doesn't just listen with his ears. He listens with his entire being. He makes the woman in front of him feel that in that very moment, nothing else exists. Not his phone, not his worries, not his ego. When he looks at her, his attention is anchored, not drifting. That level of focus is rare in today's world, and that's exactly why it's magnetic. Presence communicates something profound without words. It says, you are safe here. You are seen. You are important. And every woman, consciously or not, longs to feel that from a man. When a man is emotionally present, he creates a space where a woman feels understood without having to constantly explain herself. He doesn't rush to fix her emotions or give advice she didn't ask for. Instead, he allows her to feel what she feels fully. This is not weakness or passivity. It's emotional maturity. Because a woman doesn't need you to solve her. She needs to feel that you can handle her truth without being uncomfortable. Presence is the opposite of distraction. It's the act of being grounded enough in your own emotions that you can hold space for hers. It's not about saying the perfect thing. It's about being calm enough, stable enough, and self-aware enough to stay connected even when emotions rise. When she cries, you don't retreat. When she's angry, you don't get defensive. When she's silent, you don't panic. You remain still, open, and attentive. And that's what builds the emotional bond that logic can never create. Emotional presence also means being aware of your own inner world, your thoughts, triggers, and feelings, instead of projecting them onto her. Most men disconnect emotionally, not because they don't care, but because they haven't learned to stay connected to themselves under pressure. When discomfort arises, they escape into silence, jokes, or work. But the man who practices emotional presence doesn't run away. He notices his own reactions, takes a breath, and chooses to stay. That kind of emotional regulation is what makes a woman feel safe to be herself. Because when a man can stay grounded in the face of emotion, it tells her he is not easily shaken. He is stable, not cold, not detached, but centered. And women are instinctively drawn to that stability because it represents safety and strength at the same time. Presence is also communicated through body language, through stillness, eye contact, and attentiveness. When you're distracted, she feels it instantly. Your energy pulls away. But when you are fully there, you transmit a quiet power that words can't match. You don't have to be charming or overly expressive. Your calm awareness speaks louder than any line ever could. Emotional presence is not a technique to impress. It's a reflection of your relationship with yourself. The deeper your connection to your own emotions, the deeper your connection to others will be. A woman can sense when your attention is fragmented and when it's genuine. And when it's genuine, that connection touches something primal in her. It awakens trust, warmth, and admiration that no amount of status or looks can replicate. Unshakable confidence is not about arrogance, dominance, or the constant need to prove yourself. It is about a quiet, grounded certainty in who you are and what you stand for. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation, attention, or external approval to feel secure. It's a man walking into a room and not needing to be noticed because he already notices himself. It's the calmness that comes from self-acceptance, from knowing your strengths, your flaws, your fears, and still standing tall without pretending to be something you're not. Women feel this kind of confidence not because it's loud, but because it's steady. It's an energy that says, I know who I am and I'm not here to prove it. That level of self-assuredness is magnetic because it signals emotional maturity and strength, two qualities that make a woman feel both safe and intrigued. True confidence is developed in silence. It's built in the moments when you fall and get back up, when you face rejection and still move forward, when you make mistakes and own them instead of hiding behind excuses. It's not about perfection, it's about resilience. A confident man doesn't crumble under criticism, nor does he inflate under praise. He receives both with balance, because his value isn't determined by external opinions, it's anchored internally. Women instinctively recognize that kind of confidence because it creates emotional stability. When she's around a man like that, she feels like she can relax, knowing he won't break down over small things or compete for control. He's grounded in himself, not swayed by temporary moods or fleeting attention. His confidence gives her permission to trust, not because he demands it, but because he earns it with consistency and emotional composure. Confidence is also revealed through how you handle failure and uncertainty. Most men lose their balance when things don't go as planned. They overreact, withdraw, or seek reassurance. But a man with unshakable confidence remains calm, even in chaos. He doesn't let his emotions dictate his actions. He knows that setbacks are not reflections of his worth. They are simply part of the process. This perspective allows him to stay patient and composed under pressure, which is deeply attractive to a woman. It shows her that he's not emotionally fragile or easily discouraged. She senses that he's capable of leading not through force, but through steadiness. His confidence doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from conviction. It's internal, quiet, and deeply felt, not performed. Unshakable confidence also manifests in how a man treats others. When a man truly knows his worth, he doesn't need to belittle or compete. He uplifts others, listens without insecurity, and respects differences without feeling threatened. That emotional balance creates a powerful aura, one that draws people in without effort, because confidence isn't about superiority, it's about security. It's the absence of neediness. It's being comfortable with silence, comfortable being alone, and comfortable not always being right. Women are drawn to men who can stand alone, who don't crumble when things don't go their way, who can stay calm when emotions rise. That sense of inner steadiness speaks louder than looks, money, or words. It's the kind of energy that says, I'm complete within myself, and I choose to share, not to seek completion. Masculine energy is not about aggression, dominance, or control. It is about direction, depth, and grounded strength. It is the quiet power that holds space for chaos without being consumed by it. It is the steady presence that provides safety without needing to be loud or forceful. Masculine energy is what gives a man his structure, his discipline, his sense of purpose. It's the invisible current that guides his actions and decisions, keeping him focused even when emotions, distractions, or challenges try to pull him off course. When a man embodies true masculine energy, he doesn't have to announce it. It radiates naturally through his stillness, his certainty, and the way he moves through the world with calm authority. Women can feel it instantly, not because of how he speaks or looks, but because of the stability he carries in his energy. A man who is deeply connected to his masculine energy doesn't react impulsively to emotions, his or hers. He understands that emotions are waves, and waves pass when met with stillness, not resistance. When a woman expresses her feelings, her frustration, or even her chaos, His first instinct isn't to fight it or flee from it. Instead, he remains grounded. His presence tells her that she doesn't have to tone herself down to be loved. He doesn't try to control her emotions. He absorbs them without losing his own center. This ability to stay composed under emotional intensity is one of the most powerful demonstrations of masculine strength. It communicates safety on a subconscious level, the kind of safety that allows a woman to relax into her own feminine energy. True masculine energy also shows through a man's ability to lead, not by dominance, but by example. Leadership isn't about control, it's about clarity. It's about having vision, direction, and the courage to take action even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. A man connected to his masculine essence knows where he's going, not necessarily because he has everything figured out, but because he trusts himself to figure it out along the way. That trust in his own ability to navigate uncertainty is magnetic. A woman feels drawn to that certainty because it provides emotional security. It makes her feel that she can trust his direction, not because he demands obedience, but because his steadiness invites it naturally. Masculine energy also expresses itself in discipline and self-mastery. It's in how a man manages his impulses, his time, and his emotions. It's in the way he can delay gratification, stay focused on long-term goals, and remain consistent when most people would give up. Women subconsciously recognize this discipline as strength because it shows control, not over others, but over oneself. It's this inner control that separates men who seek power from men who embody it. Masculine energy doesn't chase validation or fear rejection because it's rooted in purpose. A man who lives with purpose moves differently. He speaks less, but his words carry weight. He acts with intention, not impulse. He loves with depth, not desperation. His energy creates balance, structure, and trust. A woman can feel when a man is led by his emotions versus when he leads his emotions, and it's the latter that draws her in with quiet fascination. A purpose-driven life is the foundation of a man's strength, direction, and magnetism. It is what gives him meaning beyond temporary pleasures and distractions. A man who lives with purpose wakes up each day with a sense of direction, knowing that his time and energy are being invested into something that matters. He is not drifting, waiting for validation or excitement to come from others. He is creating it from within. A woman can feel this difference immediately. There is something quietly powerful about a man who is committed to something larger than himself. His presence feels grounded, his actions intentional, and his energy consistent. When he speaks, there is conviction. When he moves, there is clarity. He doesn't just exist, he leads his own life. And that leadership is what makes his presence deeply attractive because it reflects stability, ambition, and self-awareness. A man without purpose, on the other hand, often seeks his identity through people, especially through women. He looks for fulfillment in relationships, hoping that love will fill the void that only direction can. But the truth is, no woman wants to be a man's purpose. She wants to join a man who already has one. Purpose is the axis that everything else revolves around. It gives structure to his energy, clarity to his decisions, and integrity to his actions. When a man knows what he stands for, what he's working toward, and why he does what he does, he becomes emotionally unshakable. He doesn't get lost in temporary emotions because his focus is rooted in something bigger. That focus becomes the quiet force that draws people, including women, toward him. His ambition, his consistency, his resilience all flow naturally from a clear sense of direction. Living a purpose-driven life doesn't necessarily mean being rich, powerful, or famous. It means being aligned with your inner calling, no matter how big or small it appears to the world. It could be building a business, creating art, helping others, or simply becoming the best version of yourself. What matters is the why behind it. Purpose gives meaning to effort and transforms struggle into growth. A man with purpose doesn't avoid challenges. He embraces them as part of his journey. He understands that discipline is freedom, that sacrifice builds strength, and that consistency is the bridge between dreams and reality. This mindset makes him emotionally attractive because it shows emotional depth and maturity. He is not seeking constant excitement. He is building something meaningful. That depth gives him gravity, and that gravity is what makes a woman feel drawn to his world. A purpose-driven man also brings balance to relationships because he doesn't lose himself in them. He loves deeply, but he doesn't abandon his direction. He is capable of devotion without dependency. His goals, his growth, his vision all remain alive even when he's in love. That creates a dynamic energy between him and his partner, where love becomes an addition, not a replacement for his identity. Women respect and admire men who have a mission because it signals emotional stability. It shows that their happiness, validation, or self-worth doesn't hinge on anyone else. Purpose keeps him centered, humble, and focused. It gives him something to wake up for, something to fight for, and something to build upon. And that unshakable sense of direction becomes the most powerful form of attraction, not because he tries to impress, but because he lives in alignment with who he truly is. Emotional safety is the invisible foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. It is the feeling of being able to express yourself freely without fear of judgment, rejection, or ridicule. For a woman, this is one of the deepest emotional needs, to feel that she can reveal her true self and still be accepted. When a man creates emotional safety, he doesn't just listen to her words. He understands her silence, her pauses, and her emotions beneath the surface. He doesn't rush to fix her or invalidate her feelings by saying she's overreacting. Instead, he holds space for her emotions to exist. That kind of presence allows her to unfold her softness, to let down her guard, and to show parts of herself that the world rarely gets to see. Emotional safety isn't built through big gestures. It's built through consistency, patience, and empathy, the quiet reassurance that she can be her most authentic self around you. A man who provides emotional safety doesn't need to dominate or control the conversation. He listens without interruption, not because he's passive, but because he values understanding over being right. He realizes that emotional intimacy grows not through debate, but through compassion. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her walls begin to melt, her communication becomes deeper, and her connection becomes genuine. But when she senses that her emotions are being dismissed or minimized, she shuts down. She withdraws not out of disinterest, but out of protection. This is why emotional safety is more powerful than attraction alone, because attraction without safety fades, but safety strengthens the bond over time. It tells her that she can trust you, that her emotions won't be used against her, and that she's not too much for you to handle. Creating emotional safety also requires a man to be emotionally grounded himself. You cannot offer peace if you are at war with your own emotions. Many men withdraw when a woman expresses pain, anger, or sadness, not because they don't care, but because they feel helpless or overwhelmed. But a man who has mastered emotional awareness understands that her emotions are not threats. They are invitations for deeper connection. He doesn't try to silence them or turn them into arguments. He listens, breathes, and stays steady. His calmness becomes her comfort. When she cries, he doesn't panic. When she's angry, he doesn't retaliate. He allows her to feel fully while reminding her through his energy that everything is okay. That level of steadiness creates a sense of trust that words alone can't build. Emotional safety also means being reliable, showing up when you say you will, keeping your promises, and being emotionally consistent. It's not enough to be kind when things are easy. True safety is proven in moments of conflict. When a disagreement happens, do you listen or shut down? Do you seek understanding or try to win? These moments reveal everything. A woman feels safe with a man who can disagree without disrespect, who can argue without humiliation, and who can hold boundaries without aggression. That emotional maturity makes her feel that she can be vulnerable without being exposed, that she can express herself without being punished for it. Emotional safety is not built in one conversation. It's cultivated over time through patterns of respect, gentleness, and integrity. When a woman feels that kind of safety, her love deepens effortlessly because her heart no longer needs protection. It simply begins to trust. Mystery and self-respect are deeply intertwined, and together they create a form of attraction that is both powerful and lasting. Mystery isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about maintaining depth, individuality, and a sense of sacred privacy that not everyone gets access to. It's about understanding that you are a universe of experiences, emotions, and values, and not every part of you needs to be revealed or explained. A man who carries mystery naturally invites curiosity because his energy feels rich, layered, and alive. He doesn't overshare in an attempt to gain approval, nor does he expose every thought or feeling in a desperate need to connect. Instead, he chooses what to reveal and when, allowing his words and actions to unfold with intention. This kind of restraint is not coldness, it is self-respect. It shows that you value your emotional and mental space enough not to give it away carelessly. Women are drawn to men like this because mystery creates emotional tension. It keeps them engaged, intrigued, and wanting to know more, not through confusion, but through fascination. A man with mystery doesn't chase attention or validation. He's comfortable with silence, with distance, and with solitude. His energy feels composed, not needy. He gives space for a woman to wonder about him, not because he's withholding, but because he's content in his own company. That comfort with being alone communicates confidence and independence, qualities that create emotional pull. When a man respects himself enough to maintain certain boundaries, to not overshare, to not beg for attention, to not seek constant reassurance, he becomes rare. He becomes a man who values quality over approval, connection over attachment. This sense of control over his emotions and impulses is a powerful signal of strength. It tells the woman that he cannot be easily swayed or manipulated by attention, that his validation doesn't depend on external sources. And that stability, that sense of inner completeness, is what allows him to remain mysterious without being distant. Mystery also means maintaining your own life outside of the relationship. It's about continuing to pursue your interests, your purpose, your growth, even when you're deeply involved with someone. When you have your own world, your passions, your dreams, your direction, you create emotional contrast. You're not constantly available, not because you're avoiding, but because your life is full. That fullness is attractive because it reflects independence and discipline. A woman feels drawn to a man who has a world of his own because she wants to be part of it, not all of it. When she feels that there's more to discover about you, your thoughts, your passions, your inner world, she stays emotionally invested. But when a man gives everything away too quickly, when he constantly seeks validation or floods her with attention, he loses that magnetic balance. He becomes predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Self-respect is the backbone of mystery. It's knowing when to walk away from situations that don't honor your worth, when to set boundaries that protect your peace, and when to stay silent instead of defending yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. It's not arrogance, it's emotional discipline. A man with self-respect doesn't chase validation or try to prove his value through excessive effort. He doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth because his actions already reflect it. This quiet confidence builds intrigue because it's so rare in a world where most people seek constant recognition. Mystery and self-respect together form a unique emotional presence, one that communicates depth, confidence, and quiet power. When a man embodies both, he becomes the kind of person who doesn't demand attention, yet effortlessly commands it.